Welcome to Serenity Productions.
Hi! If you could, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe. It really helps us out at the bookstore. Thanks!
Hello. Why are you breathing so hard? I said come in when you can. I didn't mean for you to run a marathon to get your ass in the office. Please tell me you drove here at least. How many times have I told you not to drive your motorcycle here? God forbid there's a flood or something. How are you gonna get to safety on that two-wheeled death trap? Right. Eldritch Horror Leviathans are good in water. Still, someone could see you, and if you're forgetting, we're supposed to remain a secret to the Monday world at large. Alright, sorry. Here. I was noticing something when I kept going through some of the reports. It's barely noticeable, and I doubt you would be able to see it if you weren't trained in rune work. Benefits of being born a Wiccan, you can spot that shit from a mile away. So, we have 5 different crimes that we're dealing with here. 5 different cases, as it were. Alright, well the first one is just 5 separate crime scenes. One from 1926, another from 1947, and another from 1950. So far apart that no one would think to put them together, right? And then we have several from the Deepwater case, all ranging from 1960 to 1990. Prime serial killer years for the mundane world and the time of chaos for our world, when the official pen was being built here in 1961 with new rules put in place. Most thought it was just a bunch of our community acting up. I mean, it's a great time to cause a little trouble and not get caught, and a lot of crimes, from our division, are from that time period. For this one, a few people were put away. But then another string of murders happened between 2000 and 2005. With the last one leading us to 2019, the year the Nephilim and 1 year before pandemic. 3 kills, all marked with the same runes under the body that were washed away before the investigators could get to the crime scene. And the kills? They're all seers. You can tell because of the rune work on their body. Well, much like pain agents, some Wiccans actually do get rune work on their body, especially seers. Sometimes visions can get very haywire, so runes on the body can help to refocus that magical energy into one exact pinpoint, so that way it's not always a constant vision going through your head. You know mine, I have mine on the back of my neck. So, I took a look at all the autopsies of the bodies. They all have seer runes. No one put this together probably because they were so far spread apart. And honestly, the strong concentration was at the time when the pen was just becoming an official institution recognized by the council. No one was probably paying attention with everything going on back then. That last one happened in 2019. Well, 3 technically. And I think it would have been more if not for the Nephilim crisis. I'm not sure. I mean, it's a very specific Wiccan to go after over and over again, when any Wiccan could really do for any spell. But notice how the symbols are different throughout the years. It's almost like they were experimenting with the runes they were drawing, switching them out. And most of the kills happened in places with high magical energy. Salem, Chicago, St. Augustine, Savannah, and of course here in New Orleans. Well, it could be sacrificial magic, but that leaves a residue. You can see it in the rune. It becomes warped and twisted. These runes aren't warped. They were just wiped away with the body still completely intact and no sign of extra marking on them. But all of them were slit across the throat and bled. Well, no, there are no clues as to who's done this or why. But we know the cases are linked with the same method and places of high magical residue, as well as the fact that they went specifically after seers. There was no other type of community member that was attacked. And with seers being rare in our communities, this makes it especially critical for them to be able to find them, and then be able to lead them to a place that they feel comfortable going with the perpetrator. You don't just snatch a seer off the streets, it's not how it works. And then actually getting them to a place of high magical residue when we are consistently being told we should never go to these places. Especially with the magical connection that we have with the ethereal. Could end up disastrous. Well, you know as well as I do that in the early days of people crossing over, portals were left open for too long, would let the magic of the ethereal bleed through. That's why you get places like Salem and Savannah and around the world, like in the Black Forest, Ireland, and especially in the catacombs of Paris. Even with the portals long since closed because of the magic seeped through, there are hubs of magical energy that attract things. Spirits that can't find their way to the gates and soulless. Or those of our community that are lost, for lack of a better word. Even wraiths, before they were all banished again, would huddle at these places. They're also great places to get a boost to whatever spell you're performing. You look as about excited as I do. Well, it's the beginnings of something, which is better than nothing. And a new case to work on. I think we should pull the string and see where it leads. Well, it might be harder for others, but it's a good thing you got a death talker with you. I've come to embrace the nickname. They can't hurt me with it if I use it myself, right? Sorry, a death seer then. You're starting to sound like my aunt. It's a gift, Rosamond, not a curse. Well, it certainly feels like one when all the seers can read the future and see hopeful things in life, where I can only see visions of murder, hurt, and pain. I don't even get to be a nice passing death seer. No, I only get to see them and feel them in the last final moments of absolute agony, horror, and terror. That's definitely a gift. Would never consider that one a curse. I could have run from it. But you and I already had that 3 a.m. drunk talk. You can't run from what you are, so you might as well use it, right? 3 of the murders happened here in town. I think we should start by going to those places first and getting a good read on them. Difficulty with working on cold cases. Only be able to go off what others have been able to collect. But the bright side is, we're looking at them with fresh eyes and new tech. So, what are we calling this case then? Well, we need a project name. The Washed Runes. Oh. The Slit Throat Killings? Oh yeah, that's a little morbid. Alright, then what do you got? The Seer Files. That's a little on the nose, don't you think? Okay, Slit Throat Killings was also very on the nose. Okay, fair enough. I like it. The looking into of the Seer Files. Sounds very official. No, we're not going to tell the main office yet. Because fuck 'em. After the shit they pulled us through last time, I don't want to let them onto anything that we're doing here unless it's absolutely necessary, and we can't hide it from their grubby little hands anymore. Especially Garcia. Well, the fucker only had that one big case, didn't you hear? His team doesn't seem to be making any big advances anymore. I wonder why. It's not like he wasn't doing all of the legwork and everything. Him and his team totally put 110% into finding out all the information and didn't rely on 2 tiny little cold case investigators to do most of the heavy lifting for him. Total shocker as to why he's not moving up anymore in the world. Pettiness looks wonderful on me, actually. In the reality, I don't want to get anyone's hopes up. It's not just about Garcia. It's about the families that were left behind from this. The clans that lost people. And the fact that this could cause a very, very big scare in the seer community. 5 years of peace, just to bring up something else that might happen. I can't do that to my people. I don't want to get hopes up just to have them dashed again, and I don't want to cause a panic when there might not need to be one. We can cross that bridge when we get to it. Right now, it's just about seeing how much we can find out on our own before having to bring in witnesses again and going to the families. So I say we go here, here, and here tonight. Less people around for this, the better. Happy to have a case again. Okay, maybe you need to go see my therapist this week. I'm gonna go nap on the cot. See what else you can dig up. Oh, and maybe order us some breakfast. I'm starved.